What up, y'all? It's your guy Dawson from D&D TV. Thank you for rating, commenting, and subscribing. Everybody who's donated, those of you all who will, all that information is in the description box below. Everything goes back into the channel. Also, make sure you go over to my other YouTube show, Dawson Speaks TV, and subscribe over there. I appreciate it. Now let's get into this topic. All right, y'all. Now, this is a story that keeps on giving. Now, you know I've been following this case since it came out in 2017 of the three preachers. Well, let me get their titles right. One of them is a pastor, Pastor Anthony Haynes, and there he is with his wife who got her sentencing this week. Pastor Anthony Haynes was sentenced to life in prison for sex trafficking, and the other bishop, Bishop Cordell Jenkins, there he is right there with his wife, Laura Lloyd Jenkins, but she got divorced during this whole thing, so she's just Laura Lloyd now. Cordell Jenkins is sentenced to life in prison, and Laura Lloyd is sentenced to a year and a half in prison. And then you got the Prophet Kenneth Butler. My God, Prophet, I don't know how you didn't see none of this coming. Prophet Butler said, I'm not gonna lie to the FBI. Yeah, we did do it. I did it too. And he turned state on the other ones, and he got 17 and a half years for having sex with the minor as well. And he was just open in front about everything that he did, and he basically turned the other ones in too and say, let's not waste the state's money, let's just tell the truth. But they wanted to play games with the state, so that's why those two, the pastor and the bishop, have life in prison. So now it's the time for Pastor Anthony Haynes, his wife, First Lady, my God, these first ladies for my man, they doing anything for their man. First Lady Alisa Haynes and her daughter, remember she had a daughter, Alexis Fortune, were sentenced to prison this week. Now let me get into this. Alisa Haynes, 45 years old, and her daughter, Alexis Fortune, of 26 years old, of Toledo, Ohio, were sentenced Tuesday after pleading guilty to 1 count each of witness tampering. Now, First Lady Alisa Haynes was sentenced to 2 years in prison, and her daughter Alexis Fortune was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Now, Alisa, you all know she is the wife of Pastor Anthony Haynes. Now, this is what got them arrested. According to the plea agreement filed in this case, while Pastor Anthony Haynes was under federal indictment for sex trafficking of children and child pornography, both the defendants visited the victim in the case at her apartment in order to forced her to recant statements she made to law enforcement. The defendants coerced the victim into leaving 2 voicemails on First Lady Alisa Haynes' cell phone stating that she was never trafficked or victimized by Pastor Anthony Haynes. Really? I mean, she did all of that. And now her and her daughter are serving time in prison when the FBI have the evidence of all the pastors going into hotel rooms with these girls, going into the church. They have stuff that they have on cell phones and laptops, and you risked your freedom in order to save your man, Pastor Anthony Haynes, by going to the victim while the pastor was on trial? That was just stupid. Now, the First Lady and her daughter intended to share these voicemails with the attorney for Pastor Anthony Haynes to be used in his upcoming trial, but it backfired. They ended up getting arrested because the victim, she got away from them when they took her out of her apartment, and she went and contacted the police, and then the FBI opened up an investigation on the First Lady, Miss Alisa, and her daughter Alexis. This has to be on an episode of TV Ones for my man, because this is like the silliest thing that anyone could do. Now, I'm going to let you all watch these videos, and I'll be back with the rest of my commentary. And you all know me, I'm Dawson, and I won't hold back.
Will the wife and stepdaughter of a local pastor convicted of sex trafficking take pleas? Alisa Haynes and her daughter Alexis Fortune faced a federal judge today. They pled guilty to tampering with a witness. 13 ABC's Alexis Means was in the courtroom and has the latest details.
The wife and stepdaughter of Pastor Anthony Haynes pled guilty to tampering with a witness. Haynes' wife, Alisa, plea calls for 2 years in prison. Her daughter, Alexis Fortune, plea will require her to serve 4 years in prison. The Haynes family says Alisa was hesitant to take the plea.
Yeah, because she knows the truth that all that stuff didn't take place. Didn't happen. But she wanted to come home to her family, and we want her home.
I know the truth. You know, I guess it's unfair. So, I mean, it is what it is.
The Assistant U.S. Attorney Ashley Frutrell says the truth is the women went to the main victim's apartment to get her not to testify against Anthony Haynes. Haynes, Pastor Cordell Jenkins, and Kenneth Butler were convicted of having sex with a minor. Futrell told the court the suspects took the victim and her sibling and drove them to different places in Toledo for hours. She says the victims feared for their lives. Futrell says the women forced the victim to call Lisa Haynes' cell phone and leave a message claiming Anthony Haynes never abused her. The assistant U.S. attorney claims the women plan to share that message with Anthony Haynes' attorney.
You know, this is the end of a very long chapter for our witnesses. They have endured so much throughout the course of a first trial and now this change of plea.
The sentencing terms of the plea agreements are different because of their actions.
So the terms of imprisonment are different because of the role that they played in this incident. As you know, there were two different defendants and they both had different roles. And we wanted to make sure that the terms of imprisonment were proportionate to their actual role in the offense.
In Toledo, Alexis Means, 13 ABC, Action News.
All right, y'all, let's go in. But before I do, let me give a shout out to Alexis Means. Again, I did it in another video, and one of my subscribers from Toledo, Ohio, let me know. They said, Dawson, thank you for giving Alexis a shout out, because you don't understand, a lot of the black people in Toledo, Ohio, especially some of those black people in the religious institution, they really did not like Alexis Means covering this, and they thought that she was part of the whole system to take down these pastors. When the FBI had all of the evidence and everything, they presented it even when these pastors were denying it. And so much so that Prophet Kenneth Butler, he went ahead and admitted to everything. He said, yes, we did do it. He even admitted to having sexual intercourse with a girl on the side of the road in his car in Toledo, Ohio. So, you know, shout out to Alexis, because I know when you're going against so-called, our community or the religious people, especially black people, my God, they gonna love him. Not my pastor. Oh, no, not my pastor. I know my pastor. Oh, no, you going to hell. Don't talk about my pastor. Touching out my anointed. We ain't gonna, okay, don't touch the anointed, but the pastor keep touching the kids. The pastor keep touching other people other than his wife or her husband. They keep doing it. Come on. And you all want us to sit back and wait on that great getting up morning. We gonna own that great getting up morning. I ain't waiting on no damn great getting up morning. They gonna face justice here and right now. So Alexis Means, thank you for speaking out, because that's what we gonna do, and we not going to hell. We not gonna die of no diseases. Corona ain't gonna get us. We not gonna get AIDS. We want an endorsement from Gatorade. Now let me get into my story. These people come with all this witchcraft, and I got something for that ass. Look here. Now, like I said, I am glad that this is coming to an end, but I don't feel any sympathy for any of these people involved in this, because they all knew what was going on, from the pastors to their wives and even the daughter, Alexis Fortune. I feel no sympathy at all. Also, I want to say this. For Elisa, First Lady Elisa right here, she told the police in a report when they questioned her about why she did what she did going over to the victim's house with her daughter. She said, you know, Pastor Haynes was the breadwinner and she needed him home because, you know, they were having hardships and she didn't know what she was going to do. So therefore, that's why she did what she did by going over to the victim's house with her daughter and, you know, intimidating the victim and trying to make the victim change her story. And I just want to say, First Lady Elisa, that was just the dumbest thing I think anyone could have done, because this is a hot case, meaning that everyone was they're still talking about it. They're still covering it on the news because these pastors, especially Cordell Jenkins, remember, he had ties to very prominent people in the community and in the gospel community. He was under Pastor Marvin Winans of Perfecting Church or Perfecting Faith International, whatever it's called now. He was under Pastor Marvin Winans. And who else is under Pastor Marvin Winans is y'all favorite songbird, or I shouldn't say that, that sounds feminine, but y'all favorite, whatever you call a male singer, Pastor Donnie. He's a pastor under Pastor Marvin Winans as well. So it's like, Pastor Cordell Jenkins had ties to these prominent men as a pastor and in the gospel music industry. So it's like this was such a hot case and everyone was talking about it. And First Lady Elisa decides that she is just going to forget everything that's going on. She's just going to focus on Pastor Anthony Haynes and she's going to go over there and try to save him from, going to prison, and it didn't work, and it backfired on her and her daughter. So let this be a lesson to all of you all, especially you women. My God, you women in the church who do anything for these men. Y'all date them when they have a struggle. You take up the slack, y'all, to make up the majority of people in the church. And I tell you all the time, I'm talking to the women. Y'all are the ones left with the diseases. You're left there in broken marriages. You have to take care of the kids. You basically have to pick up the pieces. And this is true in many of these educational and especially religious institutions, where a lot of these men, they fall off like these pastors. And it's not just happening in Toledo, Ohio. There are stories all around the United States and even all around the world. And I tell you, I was talking with some people, and I've heard other vloggers and stuff talk about this, about the coronavirus and how church is going to have to change and all this kind of stuff. And it is, because I think a lot of this stuff has been God just saying, no, y'all, look what y'all have turned the church into. Everything, it has to be a reset. Because, look what is going on when a pastor, several pastors, because this is one case out of many, pastors can take someone in their office. Not only they've done it with some of the women in the church, the men in the church, you can be in the church office and engage in sexual activity. No fear of God. No, you don't believe what you preach. It's just a hustle. It's just a hustle. And I know people say, well, Dawson, you don't go to church or you don't do this. Yeah, and I don't play with God either. That's why I'm not up in nobody's pulpit preaching to people, telling people some stuff. Oh, don't do this, don't do that. No, I ain't telling you that. I ain't telling you not to cuss and don't fight, because if you come over here, you gonna get it. Seriously. I'm not gonna get up there and lie to you like these people do. Seriously. No, I'm not. Because it is just so sad that these children keep getting hurt. The elderly keep getting hurt when you have people saying still come to church in the middle of a pandemic. They don't care about you. Like, honestly. And all I can do, and I'm sure other vloggers and people who have blogs and, influence, all we could do is just put the information out there, and you all as individuals have to make up your own mind what you're going to do. Now, if you're fine with it, you stay fine with it, do you, and we're going to continue to do what we do. But hopefully when you have children involved, parents, that you care enough about your children not to put them in harm's way, not only in religious institutions, but also in educational institutions. Like, to really follow up with what's going on with these children. So, First Lady Elisa and her daughter, at this point, the courts have made their decision. You all are in prison now, and this part of the case is over. So go off in the comments. Let me know what you all think. I am glad this is over. This has been a long case. I have been covering this since 2017. And now justice has been served. Now, some people don't think justice has been served, because I got some of the comments. Some of you all said, Dawson, it's kind of sad that these pastors, there are other people who are of a different race and they don't get life in prison. But these pastors, and I hear you all on that. Definitely, I agree. I agree on some of that, too, because when you look at certain cases of other people, and even in the state of Ohio, and even in Toledo, there are other people who did the same things, and the sentence does not match, what happened. Now, yes, they need prison time, all of them. Now, it's up to the courts and up to the jury. This is what they decided. But I'm saying, I hear you all, and I watch Chris Hansen, the reruns of, To Catch a Predator. And there was one case, a couple of them, where people who did the same thing, but when it came to men of color, they got harsher sentences than those other people. And I'm looking at this, and a lot of people, go look at those videos. They're still online. A lot of people in the comments were like, wait a minute. How come this guy getting 5 years, this guy getting 7 years, and this guy did the same thing, and he's getting, 3 years probation? So that definitely has to be looked at when we're talking about children. It has to be looked at in these cases, because if all children's lives matter, then it should be something across the board. And I know things are different in different states, but come on, even in the same state, you have situations where certain people are getting longer sentences than others. And that definitely needs to be looked into. But that's it for this case. You all go off in the comments. Let me know what you think. I know a lot of people want me to, Dawson, you should do something else. No, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to report the news again and give y'all this awesome commentary that you like and you keep coming back for, because that's what we're here for, and allow you all as individuals to make up your own mind that you are the ones that have to free yourself from this mental slavery. Seriously, this whole thing of my religious leader can't do any wrong. This is my man of God, my woman of God, and if I go against them, God gonna get me. Y'all, come on, man. Y'all better stop letting these people treat y'all like that, because your silence is consent that you're okay with what they're doing to you. So speak out. Don't hold back. Don't let no one tell you that, you shouldn't speak out. No, say what you need to say. Until then, it's your guy Dawson. Take care of yourself and each other. Peace.